Alright, welcome everybody. We're here for Blindfold Banter Blitz. Took me a second to get set up, but let's get started. I tried to play with Jup and I wasn't able to because of the settings, so now let's get started. For some reason I can still see the pieces. I thought I had just fixed that half a second ago. Hang on, just give me a second. This was your profile, yes. This was supposed to work. Settings. This is game. And then should be hide all pieces. I think I forgot to hit save. Okay, so that should be the last of the technical glitches with any luck. And then I can go back to my game. And good luck, Jep. Let's have some fun. Not letting me play for some reason. There we go. I'll play e4 today, which I have not been doing much of, but let's see what Jep does with me. Will he play my own classical Sicilian against me? Let's see. Nah, it's a Najdorf. Okay, I haven't done anything in Najdorf in a while. Let's go g3. I don't really know what I'm doing, but that's okay. So knight b3. I'm not exactly a Najdorf specialist from the white side. I would usually like black in these positions, but h5 feels a bit weird. Alright, we're having fun. Let's throw stuff. Of course, I could have just played h3, but I'm feeling a bit more violent. So let's do this. And h5 sort of feels like it's asking for trouble. Okay, so take. I guess take with the bishop feels most natural. I get to get the bishop there in one move. So now, let's just go queen d2 and get ready to castle. Knight e5, sure, doesn't bother me much. Let's castle. And at some point I'm going to start throwing knight d4, knight d5, knight f5, and that some point might not be that far away. Queen c7, sure, let's go knight d4, and I don't know if he cares about me taking the bishop on e6 or not, but my pieces are getting pretty centralized. So this is sort of a funny version of the Najdorf, because normally the big point is that while black has some structural weaknesses, the knight on b3 is the worst piece on the board because it's dominated by the pawn on e5 and doesn't have anywhere good to go. Here that's obviously not the case because my knight has improved, but now my bishop on g2 is probably a bit worse than it normally is. So I'm not totally convinced by this. Whoa, that I was not expecting. Okay, so if knight e6, bishop h3, he has to play rook e8, and then knight d5. Seems really good. Let's give it a try. Hang on, but no, does he have to play rook e8, or can he play knight g4? Knight g4 is a bit annoying, actually. A little time here. So knight e6, f e6, bishop h3. You can play some knight to g4, yeah. It's a bit annoying. Let's just start with a simple move, getting a piece to a nice square. That can't be that terrible. Knight. Okay, so there I thought I could go knight f5. Let's give it a try. And he doesn't really want to take this knight because then the bishop on g2 will go from being the worst piece on the board to the best piece on the board. So he has some problems to solve here. I mean, g7 is hanging. He cannot really take on h5. He can't play g6 because I will take on e7 and go bishop g5. So black actually has a hard time making a move here. So this, I thought I could take this and then go bishop g5. And I thought I was winning a piece here. Knight d7 and queen d4, and if I'm not mistaken, I win a piece. Bishop g4, sure. I'm happy to just go rook d2. I mean, I could probably have played like knight d5, but I don't feel a need to complicate the game. I'm taking his knight next move. So that seems good enough for me. You can hear my WhatsApp. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it's not the technical team, so it's okay. It can be ignored. Yeah. So here I believe I'm winning a piece. All right. So good game, Jep. Let's play again. Let's play someone else. Let's play with Syrian77. Good luck to you, Syrian77. Let's see what I can do. I'm playing more different openings today than normal, so let's go knight f3, c5. Okay, so g3, g6. This all seems, okay, so this I'm not sure I get. Let's go e6 and go with the Fischer setup with knight g7, which is kind of how I want to play a lot of these sort of closed Sicilian style positions. All right, so castle. If he plays d4, yeah, so strategically white's definitely better here. It's just the question is, can he maintain his center? Maybe it was dumb to play e6 instead of e5, but let's, yeah, no, I think I may have misplayed this. All right, but this can't be that bad. I'll take, I go d5. He probably should play e5. And then I will play b6, and my bishop will get to a6, where it's pretty good. And then rook c8 will come, and I'm probably a little bit worse here, but I don't think it's the end of the world. So bishop g5, sure, I don't want to let him put the queen on d2, so I'll do this. Bishop back to e3, but can I not go knight f5? And where is that bishop going to go next? I think I can go knight f5, and that's a bit annoying for his bishop. I don't think he wants to lose this dark squared bishop. And also, now that this bishop is on e3, I can actually seriously consider playing f6 next for two reasons. One, now that my knight is on f5, I can take with the queen, which is a better piece to take with, but also he does not have an opening file. But queen d2, so what if I play f6? g4 doesn't work, I take his bishop. If ef6, queen f6, I don't believe he's fast enough to slam the e5 square. I'm counterattacking d4 pretty hard. And because he has played queen d2, I'm not worried about any queen a4 coming. So I'm going to try f6 here. I think this should work pretty reasonably. And it's just hard for him to organize pressure on the e6 pawn when d4 will be weak as well. I don't know. This is structurally a dubious move, but I don't like passive pieces, and my bishop on g7 was really bad. So now it's sort of waking up. He probably should play rook a d1. And then I was thinking here I can even throw g5 to gain more space and potentially threaten g4 at some point. He can play g4 himself, but I can then take on e3 and... Okay, so hang on. If I take on e3 here, what will he take back with? If he takes with the pawn, I mean, it's boring, but I'm definitely fine. If he takes with the rook... I don't know. Queen f4 maybe, but rook e6, queen g4. Seems like it's a little messier than I'd like. Let's see. I'm gonna go with knight d6, which is... I probably should take the bishop, but we're playing Banter Blitz, and this seems a bit more combative. And... I don't know. So SCC chess, yeah, I'm looking at your comments a little bit, but less than normal. All right, so there. If I go knight c4, I think he's in trouble, because if he plays hg5, if I'm not mistaken, I have queen f3, and then bishop f3, knight d2, and he's going to drop a piece. So he tucks the queen back to c1, but now also, can I not take this pawn on h4? I think I can. And he doesn't have anything great to take, and h3 could be coming. This bishop on e3 is just a very bad piece. All right, so g5 seems sensible enough. Let's say I go queen g6. If gh6, I should have h3. Or maybe just bishop f6. It's very messy. Or gh6, I even have rook f3. Do I miss playing classical? Yes, of course. I think we all do. I mean, it's the thing I love most in the world, and it's been taken from me. So, I hope it comes back soon. All right. So now, let's see, king h2. If I start with queen h5, I think that looks pretty good. I don't have that much time to figure this out, though, so I'm going to start with queen h5. gh6, sure. So back to h8. So this is getting hard to figure out. Rook g1. Oh shoot! Now I'm gonna get mated. Yeah. All right, gotta run. Gotta do what you gotta do. King's coming back to e8. This is not gonna be pretty. Check. So king e8. Am I getting clobbered here? Probably. Knight e6. So. Yeah, I'm just busted now, aren't I? Alright, rook f6 play and hope for the best, but I'm just totally, totally busted. I almost had a little slip of the tongue there, but managed to catch myself. He's going to start taking stuff. Alright, so I'm going to take on... Wait, did I lose track of the position? I thought my rook was on... Oh yeah, not on f5. Alright, let's go rook g6, because I don't have anything else to do. No, I'm very much busted here. Back to f4. Okay, we're playing Banter Blitz. Let's have fun. This should not work, but I mean, I'm basically busted. And check, king h1, queen f6, and hope for the best. Wait, is my knight not on f5? Oh, my knight's on c4. That's why I was misplaying this whole thing. Okay, yeah, no, this one I lost track of the position at some point. All right, good game to Syrian. I think at some point I was doing well, but I was talking too much and not paying enough attention. Good game. Let's see, who else wants to play? Let's play with Ntilza. Okay, so let's try e4 again. That worked well last time. Karo Khan, alright. I assume d5, yeah. F5, knight f3. Bishop e2, yeah. So Karo Khan is one of the few openings with white that I've really never changed much with. I've just played the same stuff over and over again, which is not my normal MO. I'm a guy who plays a lot of different lines, but I've always sort of thought the short variation was best by far. So bishop g6 here. All right, yeah, so let's start with knight bd2. And now I think they normally go knight h6 and then knight f5, but here they should start with bishop e7. Knight f5 I think is actually dubious. So yeah, now I'm going to go a4. And the problem for black, if I recall, is it's hard for him to complete development, because if he ever plays bishop e7, I will play g4, and he doesn't really want to take with the bishop on h4. He'd rather take with the queen. So it's sort of hard for black to develop here, if I recall. And if he plays c5, I can probably just throw c4 or something. Oh man, that last game is already bugging me. I think I had such a good position and then just played like an absolute dunce. Okay, b6, what the heck? So I'm very tempted to play c4 now because the big drawback of c4 is the weakened d5 square if he takes it, and now because he has occupied b6 so that his knight cannot come there, I think c4 makes a lot of sense. b6 feels really weird to me. I think it just sort of is walking into c4. One of the whole points of a4, a5 is to play c4 without allowing knight b6, and here it just feels like I get it anyway. Alright, so now let's start by taking on d5, let him figure out how to take back, and I think black is already in massive trouble. Alright, so cd, I'm going to go g4, I will take, I'm going to go f4, and And now I'm threatening f5. If bishop e4, knight d2, the bishop is sort of out of squares. And here, this feels like really bad news for black. Maybe he can play f5 himself, but it just feels like such a bad version. We can go bishop d3 or something there. Okay, so how do I want to handle this? If g5, he has h6, bishop h5, king f7, and black's good. So let's start with bishop d3, pinning that pawn, and I think this position is very unpleasant for black because he has no space. If he plays fg4, I could certainly take g6 and take g4, but then after like knight f8 or king f7, he's probably not in such bad shape. So now here, I think now I can play g5 because I don't particularly mind him playing h6 anymore. He can't take back with the rook. But I think he has to play h6 because knight d2 traps the bishop next move. So he must play h6, but because after gh6 he will have to take with the pawn, I think white is done much better after king h1 and rook g1. So let's do this. King h1. And I'm going to play rook g1 next. Alright, so rook g1. I accept a flight to Mars if I could still play chess every day? No, come on. Now you're just trolling me. Yeah, I think black is quite a bit worse here, but it will take some effort to put the game away. Queen e8, I don't really understand. I guess he wants bishop h5, but it feels flimsy. So if I go bishop b5, bishop h5, bishop d7, bishop d1, bishop e8, bishop f3, and I lose. So let's not do that. If I start with queen f3, then bishop h5, I think h3 is a fantastic square for my queen. So let's go queen f3. And then bishop h5, queen h3. So queen f7, sure. Let's go queen h3 anyway. And now I think it might be time to bring my knight back towards g5. But actually, let's start with bishop e2 and keep him from playing bishop h5. It's going to be very hard for him to coordinate his pieces now. And my knight is coming around to f3. Okay, so that's actually a good move. Maybe I'll start with rook g2. But no, he's gonna play rook c1, yeah. I want to play bishop d1, but then my rook is locked in. I think here. I could just go rook g2 and start attacking him, but... Alright, we're playing Banter Blitz. I'm going to start throwing stuff. Let's go rook g2. He can play rook c2, and then I'm just going to sacrifice and start attacking. Knight f8, sure. Okay, so now let's go bishop d1, and then take with the rook on g2 is fine. But now it's going to be annoying to finish this off. Queen e8, sure. Let's go knight d2, defend the pawn and get this knight closer to where it wants to be. Probably advanced variation is just incredibly stupid to play in Banter Blitz because it's so strategic and it's hard to keep track of the position for that long. So knight f3. Alright, get the bishop away. Queen h5, wow, okay. King h2, sure. And take this one, queen g6. Let's go to f1, and now this queen is going to start invading the queen side. h4, that's a good move. I should have gone to f2 with the queen instead. What do you know? Alright, so let's trade these bishops and hope my bishop is better than his knight. He has all the white squared pawns. You could see it happening. Alright, so queen h4. And then the queen should be pretty annoying on f6. Queen e7, sure. So, wait, am I just worse now? I just played myself into a bad position? Maybe. Alright, let's go king g3. Take. And then... this is... Yeah, I've just given myself a bad position, but hang on. Bishop h5, king f7, take, king h4, king f6, king h5, king g7, and then I go b4, and I'll be able to stalemate myself, so I should be okay. Let's take this here, king h4, king h5, b4, and I will stalemate myself. So that will be a draw. Alright, stalemate. Unless you want to lose. Man, playing so badly today. But at least I found a weird self-stalemate at the end that was kind of cool. It's hard to play Banter Blitz against high-rated guys with Blindfold. Let's play with DZI Waldo. Good luck. So I have white here. Alright, let's try knight f3 this game. Actually, wait, what am I doing? I should be playing more aggressively. Alright, let's try to open the game up and get a more tactical position so I don't have to keep a position in my head forever. Now, we have, alright, so Samislav, let's go bishop g5. This is outside of my repertoire, but, oh wow, okay, the bishop e7 is pretty cooperative, I think. Alright, so what do we do now? Queen c2, rook d1, I think is supposed to be not totally dumb. Let's go rook d1. I don't know. This setup I actually think is not supposed to be that great if I recall. So yeah, so here a3, and the point is of course that if he takes this he's going to get himself mated because my bishop will come back to b1, and he's sort of strategically busted if black doesn't get c5 through as he just played, but now when my bishop comes to b1 I think black is basically checkmated, so that's sort of the whole point of a3, and if I'm not mistaken, this is already almost checkmate. So bishop b1, and just so many threats. And if bishop e7, I have rook d7, bishop f6. So he probably has to play g6 here, which is incredibly ugly. Maybe I'm not like completely winning yet, but I mean g6 I can even play knight e5 and start threatening to take on g6. He can give the queen there, but no, he can't give the queen because he will lose the f6 knight now. So I think he's basically made it already. This a3 and bishop around to b1 plan with rook d1 is very dangerous for black if he doesn't know what he's doing. So yeah, if I'm not mistaken, now knight e5, and he cannot take it because I take d8, take f6, and otherwise knight takes g6 is coming. Or knight takes d7 is coming. I think knight e5 just wins here, so let's do it. There we go. I figured out how to win Blindfold Banter Blitz. Just play super aggressive and win the game in 20 moves, so you don't have to keep the position in mind forever. Alright, so there. Knight d7, bishop d7, bishop f6 definitely wins a piece. So let's... But I'm actually tempted to be even more violent. I mean, I can go knight d7 and now bishop f6 wins a piece. Knight e4 also wins a piece. Let's just go bishop f6. And now knight e4, and he's losing at least a piece here, so that should be good enough. I can take d7, of course, but I actually kind of like taking the dark squared bishop more, thanks to all the weak dark squares around his king. So Yeah, I think I got this one. In fact, here, is he losing 2 pieces? You can play queen f5. But then the queens will come off, so that's also bad. Yeah, here he's, so rook takes d7, and I have knight f6, right? Yeah, that's pretty nice. Check. And yeah. Tilza, you learned Carol from my videos. Not sure that's how I would have played it, but it's good on you. Alright, so good game to DZI Waldo. Let's play with Nordorau. Alright, so let's try e4 again and be aggressive. Yeah. Banter Blitz is much harder to play strategic chess. Or at least the blindfold one. It's so much easier to just be extremely aggressive because these games that like last a long time, it's not like you can't keep the position in my I can't keep the position in my head, but it takes mental energy, and that's mental energy that I'm not using to calculate. All right, Berlin. Yuck, this is going to be long. Okay, so let's go d3. And then d6. Okay, so castle. It's been quite a while since I've been checking some of this stuff. Alright, so let's play this plan with c4. I don't think this is supposed to be amazing, but it's not totally stupid. Alright, so knight c3. a6, huh? Alright, I'm gonna take this and go d4. I think a6 was a wasted tempo, and now I can take the center like this, and I don't know. He should probably play knight d7 when the structure following de5, de5 is not the worst for him because my pawn on c4 is a bit misplaced, but as opposed to what it would be on c2, because if he takes on d4 here and I go knight d4, this feels like a pretty good version for white because his my knight got to d4, which is his best square, and is trouble defending c6. I mean, he can play bishop d7 here, but rook e1 or something, and I'm always ready to meet c5 with knight f5, and feels like white should be a little better here. Alright, so let's get rook e1. Sure, so bishop f4, and if he's not careful, e5 could come. He should probably play g6 so that he has knight h5 available. If he, okay, so there. Alright, fine, let's just go b3. I maybe could have been more aggressive somehow. But okay, bishop f8 really feels like it's begging for e5. So take, bishop takes, knight g4 or something, and maybe he's just okay, huh? Alright, I'm gonna defy my previous suggestion and play more strategically. You should play g6. And then maybe I'll go queen f3. Maybe you can even just throw e5, but I was thinking about e5 last move, but take and knight g4 didn't seem great. Alright, so c5, I guess it makes sense because now that the bishop is not on e7 anymore, knight f5 isn't good. But I can play knight f3 and not worry about knight h5 because I've played h3 and I've played, so I don't have to worry about knight h5, knight g4, or bishop g4. And here actually e5 is coming, so let's play it, and that might cause black some trouble. Oh, but I'm just realizing knight h5, I can't play bishop g5 because of bishop f3, and after knight h5, bishop h2, bishop g7, he's coming after my pawn, but that's also not the end of the world after rook c1. Like, if he takes on f3 and takes on e5, he's going to really weaken the d5 square, and his knight on h5 is out of play, so it's an interesting position, but I mean, he has to go knight h5 here. I don't think there's any real question. Okay, that seems very dubious. So I take this. And this bishop is... Maybe just bishop b7 though. I don't know. Somehow all these Roy Lopez positions, it feels like whenever black does something super offensive and just ends up fine, I always wonder what I did wrong. And here it feels like black has played this really provocatively, but I somehow don't see a way to punish him. So if I go queen d8, rook d8, bishop g5, rook d6, he seems okay. If I start with bishop g5, queen d1, rook a d1. He always just has bishop g7 anyway. This feels like there should be something good for white, but I just don't see it. Take, bishop g5, rook d6. Wait, bishop g5, rook d6, knight g4, but rook e1 is check. Still doesn't look bad for me though. Let's take this and go bishop g5. And if bishop e7, I believe I have knight g6, rook e7, and bishop f6. With some winning chances. Well, very good winning chances. He has to play rook d6. And my thought was then I can take f6 and go knight d7. And leave, eventually I'm hoping I can win the c5 pawn. I think that actually looks pretty good. But if he plays like rook e6, sure, but do I not have knight takes g6 now? I think I do. Let's take on g6. Oh, there's not even a pawn there. Somehow in my head he had already played g6. So I just hung a knight for dead nothing. It's gonna be a long day, guys. Yeah, okay. I just thought there was... thought he had already played g6. So yep, he's got a g7 pawn, so he's gonna take my bishop back, and then I'm gonna resign. This is gonna be a long day. Good game, Nordera. I thought somehow in my mind he had already played g6 because it's such a natural move, but guess he hadn't. Wow, that's really bad then. I should have played bishop g5 instead of trading queens. Okay, let's play with Blaz de Bivec. Alright, so let's start being more aggressive. So hard to play strategic, chess in the, when you can't see the board. Alright, so let's see if I can play my Rouser repertoire. We'll see. But no, this guy's doing the right thing, dude, too. Just playing the most boring, quiet line and just playing as long a game as possible. Yeah, so this is not great for white, but, do I think the classical Sicilian is just as viable as the Najdorf? Darn close. I basically think, like, if the Najdorf is one of the best possible openings, like, if you'd rate the Najdorf a 10 out of 10, I think the classical is like a 9. I think, and that's in terms of objective value. But if the classical Sicilian's like a 9, then, but there's a lot less lines. That's kind of nice. So rook d1 in this position. I only check d5 here in the course. Rook d1, I can take on d4 and go like d5, knight e4, knight. Let's why can't I remember anything here? So it was e5, knight e8, rook d1 I definitely checked, and then cd and knight c7 was fine. Let's take on d4 to start with. Here I think taking d4 makes sense because this move rook d1 feels like a total waste of time once he has taken back with the pawn. But the problem is if d5 and then knight e4, he goes knight e1, which is a bit annoying. So let's go rook c8. Just kind of boring, but fine. Knight c3. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I don't love my position, but it's not that bad. Bishop f4, sure. Let's go queen a5. rook c1, and then f8. Oh man, all of these slow, boring games are just so hard to play blindfold. Here. Alright, let's go knight f8 and start to hope to reroute knight g6, but this is going to be such a long game. And it's so hard to play long when you can't see the board. So here, knight g6. Okay, that feels dubious to me. So if I take on d5, takes with a knight, wow. Okay. So knight d5, try to play against the Isolani. Get ready for bishop f6 next. The queen's not great all of a sudden. I'm worried about knight c4. Let's start with knight f4. Oh, did I just blunder bishop f4 and queen f3? Yep. So bad. Queen f3, shoot. Okay, so trade the rooks and hope for the best. This is not good. Okay, guess we gotta do what we gotta do. Wait, is there no increments in this game? Did I accept a 3-0 game, or... Let's see. It's gotta take my knight, of course. Not a hard decision, buddy. What's wrong with me, guys? It's a rough day. Alright, so take... there's no increments? Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna get flagged. That's fine. I don't care about getting flagged in a 3-0 game. I just accepted the wrong time control. It's definitely my roughest day of Banter Blitz yet. Okay, so just... Yeah, but I'm just gonna get flagged. There's no point playing. Alright, I'm done with this. You can flag me if you want. Alright, let's play with a shadow mate. Yeah, this has an increment, so no flagging here. That's the good part. Okay, so good luck, shadow mate. Let's have a good game. Yeah, guys, I'm done with the classical Sicilian Untrustable. It's just up to them when it comes out. So, I mean, I've done the filming and the analysis. It's done. So whenever they publish it is when they publish it. But I'm playing the repertoire here, and we'll see how I do. Alright, so a6, and then... So long, bishop d7, we're still following the repertoire. There's either f3 or f4 here. So f4, I gave bishop e7. And then the best move now is knight f3. He knows it, it's good, so b5, and now there's e5, a3, or bishop f6. So he takes that one, sure. And king b1. Okay, so queen b6. f5, I castle long. Queen h6 is the main move, I think. g3 in this position. So we start with king b8. And then after bishop h3, I believe the best move is knight a5. Yeah, and we play knight a5, trying to point out that he cannot, or that his bishop is off of f1, so now knight c4 is a little annoying. And there's There are some moves here to know, but something feels wrong here, though. I feel like my rook is supposed to be on e8 already. Whoa. That feels really bad. Hang on. So b4, he cannot take on e6 because of bc3. So after b4, he must go knight e2, and then I go e5, and black just looks better. All right. So yeah, I think rook hf1 was really bad. No, I think this was fun. I checked like b3 and then rook he8, knight d4, b4, and black is okay basically. But yeah, here now I get e5, and his bishop on h3 is horrendous. He really needs to have played fe6 first. Now both bishop h3 and rook hf1 look like total wasted moves, and I'm ready. Like, I don't know. Maybe I could have even just been more materialistic last move and just gone knight c6 and taken knight c4 and taken his stuff. But here, yeah. So let's start with rook c8. And like bishop c6, knight c4 is all coming in. Queen f2. Trading queens when the only drawback in my position is a slightly loose king. Seems really suspicious decision. So yeah, let's trade the queens. And go knight c4. Knight c1, okay. So let's play h5. F1, a5. And then I may want to reroute my bishop around to h6 next. Starting to regret taking f2. Maybe I should have just played king b6 or king a7 and let him take my queen and get the queen to b6. Wait, what? Can't I take that? b6. d5 is coming. Or bishop c6 and then d5. Alright, so I don't c1, I don't have 3. Rook on f2. Let's start with bishop c6 and d5 comes next. Why was rook f1 bad from Elliot? It's not that rook f1 was bad, it's that he needed to take on e6 first. That was the big problem. Alright, so let's start activating rook over. Because like with rook f1 and bishop h3, if I can close the position like that, it's just not good for white. So, alright, so let's take this one. And I think white's position is starting to become very suspicious. Bishop takes. Okay, so let's go knight c4. bc. Alright, let's put the bishop on b4, and these bishops should easily win the game. How long do you need to memorize my repertoires? I don't know. I mean, it takes longer and longer every time as theory becomes deeper and deeper and I get older and older, but not that long. I mean, I think I managed to remember this one pretty well here. Alright, so there, let's go king a7 and get ready for rook b8, and I think I should be pretty routinely winning here. I mean, white's pieces are just so tied down, but now it don't have bishop a4 check? I think I do. And here, after a few disasters, I think I'm finally winning a game. Wait, so I take the rook. Oh wait, this knight's on d2. Man, did I lose track of the position again? Apparently there's a knight on d2 here. Or no, the knight's on... Oh, somehow I thought the c1 knight was somewhere else. Alright, let's just take this one. And he's busted, like, every which way. Oof, boy. This has been a really rough day so far. I got Moderna dose 2 Thursday morning. Maybe that's still messing with my head. Maybe that's still messing with my head, and that's why I can't remember anything or play well. I don't feel different or anything, it just, maybe that's why my head's all goofy. Okay, so good game, Shadow Mate. Let's play with, Son cils. So, yeah, this whole, oh, my brain is not working right today, so let's play with all the highest rated guys. This has worked badly for me so far. Wait, knight f3. It's not letting me move. There we go. Bishop b5, a6, bishop a4. So, 7, let's go rook e1. Alright, don't really, haven't checked this stuff in a while. Let's go d3. It's kind of silly line, but might as well give it a try. I played it once against Larry Kaufman and won a nice game. Alright, so knight d2. And knight f1. And c2. Knight g3. I've already played h3, so knight h2. And I think h5, wow. Was not expecting that. Let's start with d4. Can he play h4 here? Oh man, this has not been my day, guys. It's okay. People get their chances to swap me around. Yeah, I think it's like the only possible sensible reason to play h5 was to play h4, and I just walked right into it. But here, I think I've stopped it for the moment. You can play h4 anyway now, but knight h4, knight e4, bishop e4, bishop e4, knight e4, bishop h4, d e5, and okay, so there, this feels, so he wants to play h4 next, fair enough. What if I play d5? Yeah, let's go d5. And his knight will be first f4, sure. And now let's start breaking the queen side. That one. Feels very dubious to me. So let's take this. I don't think he's going to be able to get d5 through, and I thought that was the only way you can justify playing c6. But maybe it's not so easy. So let's start with b4 and get ready for bishop b3 next without allowing knight c5. Sure, so let's go bishop b3. And as long as I don't let him play d5, this should be structurally pretty dubious for black. King g7. Okay, if I play knight g5, is stuff gonna hang? Am I hanging my own pieces? Yeah, I'm hanging my own pieces. He has a knight on... His knight's not on f6, it's on d7. God darn, guys, this is going to be a long, hard day. Alright, let's just play slowly with bishop e3. I'm gonna hang h4 as well. Let's go rook a2 and lift this rook somewhere sensible. Knight p6. Okay, so shoot, I'm just playing so badly. Alright, let me take this. And then bring the rook to like, no, I'll take his rook. And then bishop e3. Hey, move my bishop. Hey, take it. Yeah, hey, it's my computer's not letting me move. There. It's now. Oh, I'm playing this really bad. So I'll take that and bring the knight back. And I've been totally outplayed this game, but I still think it's not so bad. So let's go knight d4 and hope to play f3 and knight f4 next. f3. And at some point I can hope that my structure will matter more than his bishops. But I feel like I've played this game very poorly. So take. And now if you take on c3, doesn't queen d2 almost trap the rook? Hang on. This feels like something should fall. So knight f5, queen d4 seems very good. Let's go knight f5 and queen d4. So check. Wait, f6, can I go knight takes d5 even, and queen f6 is coming? That looks really bad for black. Take. He's got to be mated here. Knight e7, I guess. And rook e7, and I should be mating him. Yeah, my king will hide on h2. Okay. Oofed. Tough game. King h2, and what's the board? Alright. Not my day, guys. Okay. Yeah, obviously that would never work if I could see the board. So let's play with Chesser Aditya. Good luck to you. Okay, that move order. I'm just going knight c6 because this move order is actually really annoying if you want to play the Najdorf, but if you want to play the classical, it doesn't bother you at all. d3. There you go, guys. d3, a3, and I'm going to lose to this one too, probably. So here. Funnily enough, it's actually much harder to play blindfold against guys like this, who just sort of play totally non-critical moves that have nothing to do with like fighting for an advantage, because it's harder to keep track of the pieces. All right, so I should be winning material here. Knight d4, queen d4, e5, queen a4 check, bishop d7, bishop b5, e takes f4. Seems like material up. Alternative is knight takes e4, which is also good but less convincing. I think I'm just winning material here. Take and e5. And bishop d7, and now e takes f4. Are you born with this talent? Does it look like I'm talented? I'm losing every game because people are like throwing their queens at me and I'm not taking them because I'm not following the board well. But this one I think I should be okay. I've won a piece and I'm up a piece in the endgame. Alright, so let's trade the queens. Get castled. I couldn't remember if my bishop was on g7 or f8, but it's fine. What's my guess for the candidates? I mean, these guys are close enough to each other in strength that it'd be outrageous to pick someone who doesn't have the most points. It's most likely going to be an Nepomniachtchi or MVL. If I had to guess, I guess I would pick Maxime, but like either one. I mean, I definitely think I would pick Maxime plus Nepomniachtchi over the field for sure. Let me put it that way. Alright, so I'm a piece up here. and should be routinely winning. Oh, did I play with someone who's not premium? My bad. Sorry. Just wondering, can anyone build up a memory like this? Yes, this is just a parlor trick. I mean, look, I lost track of several positions today, and maybe this is because I'm just loopy and stupid today for previously described reasons, but there's guys out there who are just like much worse chess players than me who can do this stuff much better than me. So I don't think you have to be brilliant at chess to be able to do this. Alright, so bishop d4. So rook. Now let's finish this off. King is stuck on the back rank. It's good news for me. And then I will go b2, bring my rook somewhere on the king side, and then rook c1 is made. So let's take this, and then rook c1 is coming. Right. Checkmate. Yay. Okay. Yeah, guys, it's up to Chessable when the Razer course is out. I've already submitted it plus all the videos, so it's just up to them. Let's play with John Tadros. I think I've seen you in my stream before, or on this thing before. Okay, so John Tadros, let's play d4. So that's worked better for me so far. This one I have to remember there's no increment. So let's go knight c3, e3. Still following the repertoire. F3. G7 is weird, but I'm just gonna keep following the repertoire. The less I have to think, the better. Bishop b2. And now, can I not play bishop d3 here? I think I can, because he's not ready to play e5. And normally, you have to go through some convulsions and play bishop e2 first and then bishop d3, but here it's okay. So take, and now already I think black is almost just losing a pawn here. So take, he cannot play e4, and yeah, this is just bad for him. It looks like he's almost just losing a pawn. He probably has to go like e takes d4, but that brings my knight to the d4 square too. All right, so knight b5 and de5 looks very convincing. Let's just do it. I mean, there were so many fun lines there. I was calculating like rook c1 as well, queen b8, de5, knight e5, knight e5, queen d5, knight d5, queen takes d5, bishop f6 with bishop h7, but there he can go like, I don't know, queen e6 or something, and he's only down a pawn. Well, here I think I'm going to take more than that. So take on e5. And black is absolutely busted. So as long as I don't lose track of the position again, boy, this has been such a rough day. So knight g4. So rook c1, and he cannot take on e5 because I will trap his exchange on c7. Seems pretty good. If he takes on e5, I can even go like knight e5, knight e5, knight e5, bishop h7, queen h5, bishop e5, and his queen is trapped. He can go bishop g4 there, but no, I mean, he's completely lost, but at least he's not losing his queen. Alright, so here it feels as though I should take a huge amount of material. So hang on. If I take on e5, he goes knight takes e5. And then maybe I should start with rook takes c8, because if bishop h7, yeah, so if bishop h7, king h7, queen h5, king g8, bishop e5, he is definitely lost, but after bishop g4 he can fight. Now he's certainly dead lost after like bishop b8, bishop h5, bishop d6 when I'm up a pawn with a better knight and he has the Isolani, but somehow he's not immediately dead. But if I take on c8 first, if he plays queen c8, just bishop e5, and if he plays rook c8, then I can go bishop h7, then he has king f8. Alright, let's just be boring. I have a feeling I could do something more violent, but this seems easy enough. Alright, yeah, take, and then he will lose his rook. I have a feeling I could have made bishop h7 work there, and I certainly could have just like taken a pawn up endgame with a better structure, but this is fine. So you can take this, and I don't think he wants to take on h2. Like if he takes on h2, I can go king h1, bishop d6, and then knight c7, bishop c7, and queen c3. Okay, I suppose that's sensible enough. Wait, but knight c7 and bishop c7. Hang on. If knight c7, bishop c7, queen c3, he takes on h2 in between and then plays f6. But if I start with queen c3, he must stop mate. Knight c7, rook c8, yeah? This feels like I should have something. I would just go like f4, make him take that, and then go f5, and it's dead winning. Hang on, but queen c3, say f6, knight c7, rook c8. No, knight takes e6 is fine there. I don't want to let this knight get captured, but I'm burning too much time trying to save it, so I'm going to stop and get ready for f5 and queen d5, which is certainly good enough to win the game. So yeah, this is just easy enough. I will play, let's start with queen d4, provoke him to play f6, and then queen d5 wins a piece. So this was probably just the easiest the whole way. I was just trying to get fancy with the knight c7 stuff, and it didn't seem to work. Yeah, so now I take, wait. He hasn't played b6, has he? If he has, I'm about to hang my queen again. That would suck, but I'm going to take on d5. I don't think he's played b6, yeah. Okay, so let's just work to d1 and I'm almost at the point where I think my position would be still winning even if I didn't have my extra rook, but not quite. I would be one pawn up, and then h5. Okay, let's just play e4 and get ready for e5 to bash open the long diagonal. Alright, so if he wants to trade queens, that is a-okay with me. Especially if it means my rook gets to c7. Doesn't want to, understandable. Do I have any over-the-board event plans? No, not really. I mean, I would love to play like an over-the-board tournament. I mean, You know, this online stuff that Chess24 has done has been absolutely fantastic. It is, you know, when over the board chess is canceled, like they've stepped up in a tremendous way, and like Chessable and Chess24 have done a fantastic job. I cannot commend them enough. But at some point, there's nothing you can do to replace over the board chess, and that's what I love most. It's what I do best, and I can't wait for it to return. All right, so there. Let's just get the queens off and call it quits that way. Alright. I mean, he's gonna flag, but I'm obviously dead winning anyway, so I don't feel particularly. Alright, good game. So who else wants to play? Let's play with Hungry Eagle. And a couple more games. UK. UK is known for their anti-Sicilians. Are we gonna see one here? Or are we gonna see one who's gonna fight? No, good man. Good on you, Hungry Eagle. I appreciate the effort. All right, so, yeah, and he's going straight for the main line. Bishop g5 is the best move. Now let's see what he does next. Queen d2 or bishop b5 or queen d3. The main move is queen d2, but both bishop b5 and queen d3 are pretty challenging too. All right, so queen d2, we go a6. So long, bishop d7. And now f4 or f3. F4, so bishop e7. Now the best move is knight f3. Let's see if he knows it. So he doesn't play knight f3, he plays g4. Can I not take that pawn? So like if knight g4, bishop e7, rook g1, I guess is his point. I don't know, this feels wrong to me. What if I start with h6? I think that's probably a pretty good way of doing it. Yeah, let's go h6 and ask this bishop what it wants before anything else. If he takes on f6, I believe I can take with the bishop, because knight c6, bishop c6, and if queen d6, I will take on c3 at the end and take on e4. Yeah, Prague I would love to play. I mean, I don't know what their current status is. My manager is talking with them, but I would love to play Prague. I certainly hope that would happen. All right, so bishop f6, let's take back, and now he probably should play knight f3 here. Knight b3 instead. Doesn't seem like a great square. All right, so tuck the bishop back so that I don't lose the d6 pawn. And then b1. All right, so let's start throwing stuff. b5 seems natural enough. And at some point, if I can like play If I can play b4 and then play e5, he doesn't really want to play f5 because of the weakness of like the g5 and h4 squares, which would be exacerbated by his knight being on b3. Okay, so here he goes bishop g2, and this is what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go b4, kick this knight, and then I play e5 next. And normally they would want to meet e5 with f5, but because his knight is not on f3, he's not going to be able to get like g5 and h4 through. So I quite like this move e5. Yeah. So f5 comes, I start pushing on the queen side. And here there's no h4, there's no g5. His bishop on g2 is bad, and my pieces are good to go. I mean, the pawns are pushing. So this feels like this went pretty well. Knight g3, sure. So let's go a4 and gain more space and start attacking stuff. All right. All right, this is Banter Blitz. Let's have fun. This is probably totally unsound, but it should be at least amusing. All right, so here, it's castle, and we'll go queen b6, and rook b8 is coming, and this feels like I should be crashing through. All right, so rook a2, and then rook a8 check and crash through is the plan. This is probably totally unsound. I mean, actually, at this point, it should be winning, but okay, so hang on. How do we finish this off? Knight b4 seems to threaten rook a1 mate, which looks darn difficult to stop, so let's go with that. That wasn't the only option, but this is nice. So check and then mate on a2. Alright. Okay, so good game, Hungry Eagle. Looks like we have time for a couple more. Let's get someone high rated, see if I can redeem myself for playing all these horrible games. Ari Mean seems to have a high rating. Let's play with him. So let's see if I can play someone with a high rating in Banter Blitz and not get completely clobbered when I can't see the board. Alright, so let's go c3, e3. So I'm still following the chessable repertoire here. Bishop e2. Let's see if he knows what it's about. d6, castle, b3. Okay, so my big point here was I'm going to play bishop d3. So you can't play bishop d3 earlier because e5 comes, so unfortunately you do have to lose a tempo to play this way, but I think it's actually pretty reasonable. And then the plan of, okay, so queen e7, if I'm not mistaken, always gets hit with rook e1. It just seems like that always happens. So now I should be able to play e4 and not let him play c5 very easily. Yeah, so e4, and then after d e4, knight e4, and I get, we will get knight takes e4, bishop e4. He cannot play f5. Yeah, so that shouldn't help much. I can go rook e2. That's another point of bishop d3. So take. And now he will not be able to play c5 very easily because I have d5 hanging over his head. Alright, so let's start with a3, get this bishop out of my face. And then we'll go queen d3. And he does not get c5 in very easily here. So I think black has a tough position now. This was sort of my whole big strategic idea. I mean, queen d3 is a little weird, but it's fine. It's very hard for him to play c5. It's very hard for him to even make a sensible move. In fact, d5 might already... I probably don't want to play d5 yet, because after cd, bishop f6 is not actually mate. But... it seems like a pretty good version. But it's sort of hard for him to move as well, because like... okay, so g6. That just... wait, queen c3? What the heck are you going to do? I think queen c3 looks incredibly powerful. So let's do it. Yeah, this looks very bad for black already. If he plays knight d7, I can even do something like c5. He will have to wait. So queen c7, d5, e5, and he's sort of alive. So let's just continue to slowly build up the position. I don't feel a need to rush just yet. I mean, he's never going to play c5, so black's position is really unpleasant. Okay, bishop f8 is just begging me to play d5. So d5, e5, knight e5. If cd5, I have knight g4. Let's go e5, d5, and this is going to be gone. So take this, and now... does he have some knight h5 here? Maybe he had knight h5. Yeah, I've actually sort of misplayed it then. Yeah, so here I'm only much better. I probably was just winning if I found a couple of good moves, but let's just be nice and calm. Queen e3, if knight g4, I have queen c1, and yeah, I've misplayed it, so I'm only better. I think I probably could have just mated him somehow, but here, I mean, black structure is just so bad. Okay, so let's go knight g5, I guess. But then knight g4. It's a bit annoying. I can start with bishop e5. I like that, and then get this. Make black's queen make a decision. And now my thought was queen c3, and I have switched the order of my queen and bishop, which helps a lot. And if he moves the knight, he's going to run into bishop e4. So he must play like rook f8 here. That one I thought bishop e4 was bad news for black. So, sure. Let's just take this and get the knight to e5, I guess. Or maybe g5 is better. And like, I'm threatening knight e4, I'm threatening... No, I mean, it's queen h3 maybe? It just seems like a very bad position for black thanks to the structure. Hang on, so knight e4. Knight e4, knight h5. Why don't I go queen h3 first, provoke h5, and then go knight e4. Yeah, now knight e4 maybe, but it's kind of actually not that clear. Knight e4, he is... Alright, so let's start with g3 and then hit the e6 pawn and let him figure out what to do about that and then take it from there. My queen's a little awkward. The problem for him is, like, even endgames, if I just, like, bring my queen back to g2, which I'm gonna do here, like, even endgames are just, he's just gonna, like, lose a pawn. So let's take this, and then knight f3 comes next, and he just loses this pawn, right? Or I can even start with rook e5, and his knight on g7 is sort of stuck. Yeah, let's take this. Yeah, it's annoying. Didn't realize that somehow I thought my pawn was on a2 still. Alright, more issues. Okay, so what do I do? Let's start with rook d5. Knight f5 is a good move, and now he is totally fine. This is why you can't play strategic chess in Banter Blitz blindfolded. It's just too slow, and you will eventually lose track of something. I mean, I totally outplayed him the whole game, but now he's definitely should save it. So, in fact, I don't know. Maybe he's going to win this position. His pawns are faster. So here, let's go 4. Okay, so it feels like I should be lost here, but it's not going to be that easy because his rook is in a very clumsy spot. So let's go check. And king f5. Check. Now let's go king e4 and start trying to stop these pawns. His rook is in a clumsy enough spot that I might save this yet. Maybe not though, rook c2 is a good move. So f5. Is he just in time? That'd be a shame. Looks like he is. Here. He's just in time by one tempo. c3, king f5, rook c1, f7 check, king f8, king f6, rook f1 check, king g6, and he's just barely in time, yeah. Check. Here. Rook c1, and then... Actually, now I might be saving it. Nah, I'm not saving this. I'm definitely lost. Takes that one. Okay, but now he has to win with queen against rook. And my rook will get back to sensible square. Let's see if this guy knows how to mate with queen against rook. Alright, so check, and does he know queen d5, or queen e5 and queen d4 are the two good ones here? Yeah, that's a mistake. He should be putting his queen on, like, queen e5 here is a winner. Yeah, so this is bad. Yeah, he's putting his queen in the wrong spot. He should have put the queen on e5. That was the fastest way. And now check is a draw. Alright, so I managed to luck out in this one. Of course, I was completely winning earlier on, but what can you do? I consider it a victory that I managed to keep the position in my head to move 77. At some point, I just forgot my pawn was on a3, and instead of having a completely winning endgame, I'm losing two queenside pawns. Alright, last game, let's play with... last game, who am I going to play with? Let's do someone high rated. Give myself one last chance to try to redeem myself in this. Who has a high rating here? Why can't it? Let's see this. Alright, Tom Bus, let's play with you. 2,500. Let's see if I can do anything to redeem myself in this blindfold embarrassment session. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, abort. All right, so let's see. I'm looking for someone with a high rating. All right, Panerage, we'll play with you. Oh wait, was I white there and did I unfairly abort Tom Bus? I'm sorry, Tom Bus, I'll play with you next time. Guys, my head is just spinning. This has not been my day. I'm sorry, Tom Urge. Let's play. Or I'm sorry, Tom Bus. My bad. All right. So let's play a King's Indian because why not? All right. So play something like this. Alright, so I guess we'll play into some kind of Benko or Benoni. I don't really know what I'm doing here, but that's okay. Alright, so e6, and then... I know there's some like long complicated theory here that I know nothing about, so that always makes things fun. head is so loopy today. Okay, bishop f4, and then I think there's this move bishop f5 here that's supposed to be pretty good. Yeah, guys, look, I can't play with everybody. I mean, if you look at my challenges, I've got over 100 people in line or something. It's not, and I get to play, 10 games or maybe 15 if I'm lucky in an average banter session. I'm sorry if I didn't get to play with you. I'd like to. We'll do it at some point. Yeah, so I think this bishop f5 move is supposed to be pretty good. So yeah, I think the point here, if I'm not mistaken, is after knight h4, you can go knight h5, and the bishop is forced back to the e3 square, where it's not supposed to be great. So I probably can just take that bishop, but I'm not going to be so rash here. But it's hard for white to coordinate now, because the bishop on e3 is just misplaced. And you cannot really play h3 very easily either. So there, let's go, wait, c7. Yeah, let's go knight c7. And I'm ready for b5, so he probably should play a4. Sure, so I'll go b6. And here I'll tuck the bishop back to c8, and now the bishop's going to go to a6, and I think black has a pretty good position. Among other things, if I play bishop a6 and kick this knight, all of a sudden knight takes g3 can happen if he's not careful. But so, for example, here, if he plays something like knight b5, which would be pretty typical to like gang up on d6 and try to encourage me to take when he can play ab, stopping b5 forever, stopping bishop a6, and opening the rook, like I can perhaps do something like bishop d7, taking advantage of this bishop on e3, because if knight d6, I can go rook e3, and it's going to start to get very goofy very fast after, say, f e3, queen e7, knight c4, knight g3, and messy stuff. All right, so rook c1 I don't understand, so I'm going to play bishop a6. Wait, can I not take this knight and then go knight g3? Seems pretty good. All right, so I think I made something like 50% against the guys with high ratings with Blindfold, which I'm obviously not happy with, but maybe it's not as big a disaster as it was feeling like at some point. All right, so bishop f4. Just duck this knight back to f5 is fine. Queen d2. There was knight. Oh, did I just not take a rook? That's pretty bad. All right, so let's bring my knight to b4 now. Okay, bishop g5 would be annoying, so I'm not going to allow it. To always play bishop f1, I don't deal with any of that stuff. I absolutely do not care. Streaming is a completely separate world from what I do, and for people who operate in that world, that's fine. Just do your thing. You do you. I do me. But it's not. I could not care less. So knight d4, and now my pieces are nice and active on the dark squares. This feels like it loses a lot of material. So knight b3 seems like a good place to start. Pretty sure he's already played a4. Where does he even go with the queen? I guess he has to go to g5. Okay, he can go there, I guess. We'll take this. And bishop g7, sure. I am very much winning here. So stop knight c7 and get ready to double rooks. Four, huh? I guess it makes sense. All right, let's make it discourage e5 because it would sort of suck if that happened. All right. Wait, knight d3. He has rook f1. Yeah. I'm actually regretting putting the rook here. Let's put the rook somewhere better. Knight back to c3. And let's go rook h4 and start attacking his stuff. Let me figure out how to defend it. Okay, so bring the rook back. Rook f1, but now I get my knight to d4, which I've been long since waiting to do. So knight d4. And I will take with the pawn, of course, to not hang my rook. If e5, I can take, and I have queen e5, and he's pinned, so he cannot take my rook. Sure, but this is now getting into total desperation mode. So let's take this, bring the rook back home, and e6, and bishop d5, rook f6, and we're done here. Okay, let's go like king e5, and then e3. Alright, so good game, Panurge. This was a rough session. Maybe I was still loopy from the vaccine a couple days ago. I thought I should be fine by now, but I feel fine, but somehow in my head I didn't seem to be thinking that well today. Good games, everybody. This was fun. I look forward to playing a more proper Banter Blitz tomorrow, where I can see the board and I won't have people playing queen a1 check when they're mated next move and not realizing and hanging their queen in one move and winning with that. That was depressing. Anyhow, good games, everybody. This has been fun.